Life is a relentless test of our convictions. It often places us at a crossroads, forcing us to question our choices, our worth, and the direction we're heading. Too many times, we invest our energy, emotions, and time into people, pursuits, and situations that do not reciprocate our efforts. We cling to illusions, hoping for change, waiting for recognition, and convincing ourselves that if we just try harder, give more, or endure a little longer, things will turn in our favor. But here's the hard truth. What is meant for you will never require you to beg, force, or diminish yourself to keep it. The wisdom of the Stoics teaches us that attachment to what is outside our control is the root of unnecessary suffering. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Yet, how often do we exhaust ourselves in the pursuit of things that were never truly meant to be ours? We chase approval from people who overlook us, fight for relationships where we are the only ones making an effort, or remain stuck in jobs that undervalue our potential. We justify it all, afraid to walk away, afraid to accept the possibility that letting go may actually be the most powerful choice we can make. But what if you shifted your perspective? What if, instead of lamenting what isn't choosing you, you started choosing yourself? What if you embraced the uncomfortable truth that real freedom begins when you stop clinging to the things that deplete you? To stop choosing what's not choosing you is not an act of weakness. It's a declaration of self-respect. It is the moment you reclaim your time, your energy, and your dignity. It is the conscious decision to no longer be a prisoner to unreciprocated efforts and to walk away from anything that does not recognize or honor your value. It is the recognition that your worth is not determined by what you lose, but by what you refuse to settle for. True strength lies in the ability to detach from what no longer serves your growth. This is not bitterness, nor is it resentment. It is wisdom. It is an understanding that your energy is finite, and every moment you waste in the wrong place is a moment stolen from where you truly belong. It is knowing that the path to fulfillment does not involve convincing people of your worth or forcing opportunities that were never aligned with your purpose. So, the question is, are you ready to let go? Are you prepared to stand in your own power, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that by making space, what is truly meant for you will find its way into your life? Because when you stop choosing what's not choosing you, you don't just lose. You free yourself to gain everything you were always meant to have. 1. Recognizing your worth. To recognize your worth is to step into a level of self-awareness that transcends external validation. It is to understand, at the deepest level, that your value does not waver based on who acknowledges it, nor does it diminish when someone fails to see it. You are not a backup plan. You are not an afterthought. You are not an option to be considered only when it is convenient for someone else. Yet, too often, we allow ourselves to be treated as if we are. We remain in relationships where our presence is tolerated rather than cherished. We work tirelessly in roles where our efforts are overlooked and our contributions undervalued. We persist in spaces where we are unseen, unheard, and ultimately unchosen. And for what? For the mere hope that if we stay long enough, try hard enough, prove ourselves enough, then finally, we will be valued. But recognition should not be begged for. True worth is self-evident. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once said, "How long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself?" This question, piercing in its simplicity, forces us to confront a reality we often avoid. The way we allow others to treat us is a reflection of how we see ourselves. When you truly recognize your worth, you stop chasing validation from those who refuse to give it. You stop pleading for acknowledgement in places where you are merely an option. You stop fighting for spaces that were never meant to hold you. Instead, you shift your focus inward. You cultivate an unshakable understanding of your own value. Not the surface-level confidence that wavers in the presence of rejection, but the kind of quiet, unwavering self-assurance that needs no external confirmation. You understand that your time, your energy, and your presence are investments, not donations to be squandered on people, jobs, or situations that fail to reciprocate them. You begin to discern the difference between a challenge worth overcoming and a battle that is simply not yours to fight. The moment you recognize your worth is the moment you reclaim your power. You stop allowing yourself to be drained by one-sided efforts. You stop explaining your value to those who refuse to see it. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that cannot contain your growth. Instead, you demand respect, not with words, but through your actions. You no longer chase what is running from you, nor do you settle for less than what aligns with your highest self. This is not arrogance. This is not entitlement. This is self-respect. It is the ability to walk away from anything that does not honor you, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. It is the understanding that you do not lose people by valuing yourself. You lose the ones who never valued you in the first place. And that is not a loss. It is liberation. So, ask yourself, how long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself? Because when you truly recognize your worth, you no longer waste time proving it. You simply live it. 2. Letting go of unreciprocated efforts. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning when to let go. We are conditioned to believe that effort alone guarantees results, that persistence will eventually be rewarded, that if we just give a little more, endure a little longer, and prove ourselves a little harder, things will change. But here is the reality. No amount of effort will make the wrong thing right. No amount of love will force someone to appreciate you. No amount of waiting will turn an illusion into reality. We cling to unreciprocated efforts not because they serve us, but because they feed our hope. Hope that if we just hold on a little longer, the job that overlooks us will finally recognize our worth. Hope that if we keep proving ourselves, the person who takes us for granted will finally see what they have. Hope that if we persist against all odds, the dream that continually eludes us will finally materialize. But hope without clarity is a trap. And the longer we hold on to what does not serve us, the longer we delay what does. The Stoics taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Seneca once wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We fear letting go because we believe it signifies failure. We act as if walking away means we have lost something, when in truth, clinging to what is not meant for us is the real loss. Every moment spent investing in what does not invest in us is a moment stolen from our own growth, peace, and potential. But letting go is not an act of weakness. It is an act of wisdom. It is the recognition that your time, energy, and emotions are too valuable to be poured into a void. It is understanding that you are not here to beg for a place in anyone's life, to fight for a seat at a table where you are not welcome, or to exhaust yourself trying to force something that resists you. To let go is to make space. Space for people who see you, opportunities that align with your purpose, and experiences that enrich your soul. It is to break free from the cycle of self-betrayal and step into a life where you are no longer seeking validation in places that refuse to give it. And make no mistake, letting go does not mean you never cared. It does not mean you were not committed, that you did not give your best, or that what you felt was not real. Letting go simply means you have chosen yourself over a version of life that asks you to settle. It means you have the courage to release what is already gone, rather than holding on to an illusion. So ask yourself, how much longer will you carry what is not meant for you? Because the moment you put it down, you will realize something powerful. What is truly meant for you has been waiting for you all along. 3. Setting boundaries for self-respect. There comes a point in life when you must decide who and what is worthy of your time, energy, and presence. This decision is not about arrogance. It is about self-respect. It is about understanding that your life is a sacred space, and not everyone or everything deserves access to it. Yet, so many of us struggle with this. We say yes when we mean no. We tolerate disrespect under the guise of patience. We overextend ourselves for people who would not do the same for us. And in the process, we exhaust our minds, drain our spirits, and betray our own well-being. But here is the truth. If you do not set boundaries, the world will set them for you. If you do not decide where your energy goes, someone else will. And more often than not, it will be directed toward things that serve their interests, not yours. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They do not shut the world out, but they ensure that only what aligns with your values, your peace, and your growth is allowed in. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. In other words, you suffer not because of what others do, but because you have not yet decided what you will, and will not allow. When you establish boundaries, you revoke permission for anything that disrupts your peace, disrespects your efforts, or diminishes your sense of self. Setting boundaries is an act of self-mastery. It is knowing that you do not have to answer every call, entertain every request, or be available to everyone at all times. It is understanding that your energy is currency and you must spend it wisely. It means recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting, not every relationship is worth salvaging, and not every opportunity is worth pursuing. And make no mistake, setting boundaries is not easy. People will resist. Some will guilt-trip you. Others will call you selfish, distant, or difficult. But understand this. The people who truly value you will respect your boundaries, and the ones who do not were only benefiting from your lack of them. Boundaries are not about rejecting others. They are about rejecting what does not serve your purpose, your peace, or your growth. They are a declaration that you are not here to be drained, disrespected, or undervalued. They are a commitment to yourself, a promise that you will not tolerate less than you deserve, not because you think you are better than others, but because you have finally decided to be better to yourself. So the question is, where do you draw the line? Because the moment you do, you will realize something life-changing. Your energy, your peace, and your self-worth were never negotiable to begin with. 4. The power of self-love. At the core of every decision you make, every boundary you set, and every relationship you nurture, there is one fundamental truth. How you treat yourself determines how the world treats you. Self-love is not indulgence, nor is it arrogance. It is the unwavering commitment to honoring your own worth, regardless of who does or does not recognize it. And yet, so many people move through life seeking external validation, believing that their value must be confirmed by others before they can accept it themselves. But here's the reality. If you do not love yourself, no amount of external approval will ever be enough. If you do not believe you are worthy of respect, you will tolerate disrespect. If you do not see yourself as deserving of happiness, you will sabotage it. If you do not recognize your own worth, you will settle for less than what you are capable of achieving. The Stoics taught that our greatest strength comes from within, not from the opinions of others. Epictetus reminds us, how long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself? This is not just a question, it is a challenge. How much longer will you betray yourself for the comfort of being chosen by people who do not truly see you? To love yourself is to refuse to abandon yourself in order to be accepted by others. It is the ability to say, I am enough, even when no one else says it for you. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that your worth is not negotiable, not conditional, and certainly not something that requires permission. You do not have to beg to be appreciated. You do not have to lower your standards to be included. You do not have to fight to be seen. The moment you recognize that, you stop chasing what is beneath you and start attracting what is meant for you. But self-love is not just about knowing your worth. It is about acting in alignment with it. It is about how you speak to yourself in moments of failure. It is about the decisions you make when no one is watching. It is about choosing peace over chaos, growth over comfort, and purpose over approval. Self-love is the discipline of walking away from what no longer serves you, not because it is easy, but because you refuse to betray yourself any longer. And let's be clear, choosing yourself will not always be applauded. There will be people who mistake your self-respect for selfishness, who will call you distant for setting boundaries, who will resent your growth because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. But you do not exist to make others comfortable at the expense of your own well-being. You are not here to shrink yourself so others can feel bigger. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. So the question is not whether you are worthy of love. The question is whether you are willing to love yourself enough to stop accepting anything less. Because when you finally do, you will realize something life-changing. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong people. 5. Recognizing when it's time to walk away. There is a moment in life, one that arrives in silence, often after years of resisting it, when you realize that holding on is doing more harm than good. That no matter how much you pour into something, no matter how much time, energy, and love you invest, some things are not meant to be saved. Some doors are not meant to be pried open. Some people are not meant to walk with you into the future. The hardest lesson is not in learning to fight for what you want, but in knowing when to stop fighting for what is no longer fighting for you. We hesitate to walk away because we equate it with failure. We convince ourselves that leaving means we gave up too soon, that we should have tried harder, that maybe, just maybe, if we endured a little longer, things would have changed. But persistence without purpose is self-betrayal. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You are not trapped by circumstances. You are trapped by the belief that you must stay in them." Walking away is not an act of weakness. It is an act of profound self-respect. It is the recognition that your energy is too valuable to waste on relationships that drain you, jobs that suffocate you, or situations that do not align with your growth. It is understanding that staying in the wrong place does not lead to fulfillment. It only leads to resentment. And resentment is the slowest kind of self-destruction. But let's be honest, leaving is not easy. It is easier to stay in what is familiar, even if it makes us miserable. It is easier to hold on to the idea of what could be rather than face the truth of what is. But comfort is not a reason to stay where you do not belong. Growth demands discomfort. It demands that you trust yourself enough to step into the unknown, to release what no longer serves you, and to believe that what is meant for you will never require you to diminish yourself to keep it. And make no mistake, there will be fear. There will be moments of doubt, of longing, of questioning whether you made the right choice. But what you must understand is this: the longer you stay in the wrong place, the further you delay the right one. Every second you spend clinging to what is no longer serving you is a second stolen from the life that is waiting for you on the other side of fear. So, ask yourself, is what you're holding on holding you back? And if the answer is yes, then the decision is clear. It's time to walk away. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but out of a deep, unshakable understanding that you were not meant to live in chains, especially the ones you put on yourself. 6. Investing in the right people. The people you surround yourself with are not just acquaintances. They are architects of your reality. Their words shape your thoughts. Their actions influence your decisions. And their energy either fuels your growth or drains your spirit. Yet, too often, we allow ourselves to remain in circles that do not inspire us, in relationships that do not challenge us, and in environments that stunt our evolution rather than propel it forward. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once warned, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." But how many of us tolerate relationships that do the opposite? How many of us continue to pour into friendships, partnerships, and communities that do not elevate us? The truth is, your time and energy are sacred, and not everyone deserves access to them. If you spend your life around people who think small, who complain more than they create, who envy more than they encourage, do not be surprised when you find yourself becoming like them. Investing in the right people does not mean seeking perfection. It means seeking alignment. It means choosing those who challenge you to be better, who remind you of your strength when you forget, and who hold you accountable to your highest standards. It means valuing depth over convenience, substance over familiarity, and loyalty over proximity. The right people will not just celebrate your victories, they will push you toward them. They will not simply agree with you to keep the peace. They will confront you when you are standing in your own way. But choosing the right people also requires the courage to walk away from the wrong ones. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. Some people are only in your life because they are comfortable with your past, not because they support your future. And holding on to them out of obligation or nostalgia is not loyalty. It is self-sabotage. This is not about arrogance. It is about discernment. You do not owe anyone access to you at the expense of your own growth. You have the right to protect your space, to elevate your standards, and to demand relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and genuine support. Because the people you invest in will shape not only your mindset, but your destiny. So, ask yourself, are the people around you pushing you forward or pulling you back? Because in the end, you do not just rise by your own effort. You rise with the company you keep. 7. Trusting the process. We live in a world that glorifies speed, instant success, immediate results, rapid transformation. But real progress, the kind that builds unshakable strength and lasting fulfillment, does not happen overnight. The process of becoming is slow, deliberate, and often invisible to the outside world. And yet, so many people abandon their journey too soon, mistaking delays for dead ends, setbacks for signs to quit. But what if the very obstacles you are facing are not roadblocks, but stepping stones? What if the waiting, the struggle, and the uncertainty are not punishments, but preparation? The Stoics taught that patience is not passive. It is an active exercise of wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "Time discovers truth. Time heals what reason cannot." To trust the process means to understand that growth is happening even when you cannot see it. It means accepting that some lessons must be lived, not rushed. That some seasons of your life are meant for building, not for harvesting. That some doors remain closed not because you are unworthy, but because the right one has not yet appeared. But trusting the process is difficult because it demands surrender. It asks you to give up the illusion of control, to stop forcing what is not meant for you, and to believe that the right things will unfold in their own time. It is a test of faith, not in external circumstances, but in yourself. The faith that your efforts are not wasted. The faith that your struggles are shaping you into the person who will be ready for what is coming. The faith that setbacks are not signs of failure, but signs that something greater is still being built. And here is the truth. Trusting the process does not mean doing nothing. It does not mean waiting passively for life to hand you what you want. It means showing up, doing the work, refining your skills, strengthening your mindset, and staying committed even when results are not immediate. It means understanding that discipline is more powerful than motivation because motivation fades, but discipline keeps you moving forward. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when it feels like nothing is changing, like you are standing still while the rest of the world moves ahead. But understand this. Real transformation is happening beneath the surface, where no one else can see it. And when the time is right, when you have been tested and refined, the results will speak for themselves. So ask yourself, do you have the patience to allow your life to unfold at its own pace? Because if you do, you will come to understand something profound. What is meant for you will never pass you by, and what is not meant for you will never stay, no matter how tightly you try to hold on. 8. Reclaiming your power. There comes a moment when you must decide. Will you continue to let life happen to you, or will you take ownership of your existence? Too many people move through life as if they are powerless, as if their circumstances are unchangeable, as if they are bound to a fate they did not choose. But the truth is, your life is shaped not by what happens to you, but by how you respond. You are not a victim of fate. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the architect of your own reality. But to build the life you desire, you must first reclaim the power you have unknowingly given away. The Stoics understood that power is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. Freedom is not granted. It is claimed through discipline, through awareness, through the refusal to be controlled by external forces. And yet, how often do we hand over our power without realizing it? We let people's opinions dictate our self-worth. We allow past failures to determine our future choices. We waste energy complaining about things we have the ability to change. And in doing so, we shrink into a version of ourselves that is small, reactive, and dependent on the validation of others. Reclaiming your power begins with a single, radical decision. You will no longer wait for permission to be who you were meant to be. You will no longer seek external approval to feel worthy. You will no longer let fear dictate your choices. Instead, you will step forward with clarity and conviction, knowing that every choice you make is either reinforcing your strength or feeding your weakness. And let's be clear, this is not about control. It is not about forcing life to unfold on your terms. It is about taking responsibility. It is about understanding that no one is coming to save you. No one owes you success, and no one else is responsible for your happiness. You must cultivate these things from within. You must be willing to face hard truths, to break free from limiting beliefs, and to stop blaming circumstances for what you have the power to change. This journey will not be easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when it feels safer to fall back into old patterns, to seek comfort in excuses, to surrender your power once again. But understand this. Every time you choose responsibility over blame, action over stagnation, and discipline over distraction, You reclaim a piece of yourself that was lost. So ask yourself, where have you given away your power? And more importantly, are you ready to take it back? Because once you do, you will realize something life-changing. The world cannot define you, control you, or limit you unless you allow it to. Conclusion. The journey to a fulfilled and meaningful life is not about chasing what is out of reach. It is about aligning yourself with what is truly meant for you. It is about walking away from the things, people, and situations that do not serve your growth, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. It is about recognizing that your worth is not something to be proven, but something to be lived. Stop choosing what is not choosing you. Stop wasting your energy on unreciprocated efforts, on spaces where you are merely tolerated, on relationships that drain you instead of nourish you. Let go of the fear that tells you you must hold on, that if you walk away, you will lose something valuable. Because here is the truth. Anything that truly belongs in your life will never require you to beg, force, or diminish yourself to keep it. The Stoics taught that peace is not found in the pursuit of external things, but in the mastery of oneself. When you stop seeking validation from others, when you set boundaries without apology, when you trust the process without fear, and when you reclaim your power without hesitation, you step into a life that is fully yours. You become someone who no longer chases, but attracts. Someone who no longer settles, but chooses. Someone who no longer waits for life to happen, but creates it with intention. And that is the challenge before you. Will you continue to give your time, your energy, and your heart to what does not value you? Or will you rise above the fear of letting go and embrace the life you were meant to live? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The life you seek is already waiting for you. The only question is, are you ready to claim it? If this message resonates with you, if you are committed to the journey of self-mastery, growth, and inner strength, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here, we dive deep into the wisdom of the Stoics, the power of mindset, and the path to true self-ownership. Let's walk this journey together, one lesson, one decision, one transformation at a time.